is over my house right now. What is that?
There is a bunch of red lights floating in the sky.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Team Room. Hey, just so you guys know, we are doing the Fieldcraft Survival Plus edition of this on the Fieldcraft Survival app. I just stole Daily Wilder Plus, how they did it. I just added Plus. Fieldcraft Survival
I was going to say,
Plus.
that's new. Whoa, Plus.
Brand new. I just made it
fancy.
up on the drive in. Let's talk drones, because drones is the hot button topic. I just did a video on Mike Glover Actual. If you want to subscribe to the app, by the way, I'll link it down below and make it easy for you guys. Some of you guys were complaining like, hey, it's a drop link. It takes me to all these places. We're going to put the actual shared app from iOS and Android at the bottom so to make it easy. Again, the Plus version will be there and all of your preparedness education. So what do you think these drones are? New Jersey, out of all places.
Dude, and I literally got hit up by 3 different friends of mine in New Jersey this week talking about the drones. I haven't seen it myself personally. You see little videos and stuff, and it's like, whatever. Like, it could be a Cessna, you know? Like, and
I saw the engines on under the wing of one video. I'm like, that's an airplane.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it personally firsthand, so I don't know. The videos that I've seen, you know, could easily be a small commuter, commercial, or private plane. Some of my friends have said they've seen them low enough that they can hear the whirring of the actual of the drone, which, okay, maybe that's the kid down the street who's got his new drone, I don't know, for his birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say this. Drones are a real threat. They are a significant threat. We were dealing and combating with drones back in 2016, 15, 16, when we were operating out of Yemen. So we were operating out of Yemen jointly with the United Arab Emirates, and we were dealing with drones, not like they're using them in the Ukrainian war right now, but to drop munitions. So they're using drones with little retractable arms and mortars or grenades, and they're dropping these things on targets with drones. So we would actually have a falconer with us. I shit you not.
The thumbnail, Yoshi, has to build like a falcon grabbing a drone with
but
Greg's face.
That's for all right. But that's the real. So they started training falcons to go after these drones. So we'd have a full unit. You know, you got your machine gunners and your mortarmen and your riflemen and your falconer.
Hey guys, Mike Glover here. As always, it's just me on my own channel doing ads for myself. Mike Glover Podcast, it's back. It used to be Mike Force Podcast, but Mike Glover Podcast is back. And I want to remind you that because many of you who are subscribed on that channel might not be watching or be checked out because it's been a while. Last week, I just posted it. An FBI agent who spent 25 years in the FBI talks about the cultural issues, some of the corruption that he saw while his tenure in the FBI, especially at the end of his career. And this week, we have a Mac VSOG operator who was in the Navy, the Army as a Green Beret, and the Air Force as a pararescue man. Epic man, legacy man with an epic story and journey. Again, it's linked down below, the Mike Glover Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to wherever podcasts are found, and obviously subscribe here on YouTube. Thanks, and back to the show.
I'm not kidding.
I think that's probably the most viable option because alternatively, what guys were saying was, shoot it down. And I'm like, my first reactive contact in Libya was when a 50 cal round, a Dishka round, landed in the compound, the CIA compound, in the middle of a dinner venue. Yeah. And it splashed in the middle of the concrete, but everybody thought it was incoming fire.
Right.
And it was when I think they rolled up one of Gaddafi's sons. I can't remember what it was. But like me and my guys grabbed our sniper rifles, went to the rooftop, and we were waiting for a direct attack. I'm like, that's probably what's next. That was definitely indirect.
Right.
But I don't know the consideration. But then we started seeing tracer rounds in the distance shoot off. And I was like, hey, I called down to the station, like, is there anything happening today, like a celebration, whatever? And they rolled up one of his sons. I was like, guys.
There you go. They're just
that was a round that went up, must come down.
That's right.
And this idea that even congressmen are putting out, hey, why don't they just shoot it down? It's like, dude, this could be a commercial drone, because I don't think it's a foreign adversary, that's the size of an SUV, which people have reported. You shoot it down, those bullets that you just shot at it
land somewhere.
The
drone lands somewhere.
And the drone lands somewhere. It's like, come on.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, my 3 caveats to this is, one, drones suck with imagery at night. unless they're using thermal imagery, which is highly advanced for very expensive drones to search for people, using a drone at night to gather intel for infrastructure is obsolete.
It's like, especially if it's a commercially bought drone. We're not talking, if we're not talking about
an ISR platform.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we're not talking about a Predator. So the second component is most of the drones that I've seen have fixed wings. They're actually flying and on a trajectory. They're not hovering. There are some of the videos that are hovering and you're like, that's a drone. The ones that are flying are less likely to be drones because drones that are fixed wing, which I've been to all the schools, I've taught the class, I worked with DARPA on 2 specific programs. Yeah, the Pred can get so high with such a good pod, it could see, lock the feed, and then disseminate the feed.
Yeah.
It also needs that distance to disseminate.
And we're none the wiser because they're so high.
They're so high, yeah. But a lower orbiting drone, especially fixed wing, which I flew specifically the Wasp, for example, by Avionics, which is awesome because like I would literally drive it in a vehicle in Afghanistan, throw it out of my vehicle like a paper airplane. It has a 3.6 kilometer range that I remember, and I've flown it on targets for surveillance, for reconnaissance, and for QRF, like situational awareness.
Right.
Once you lock onto it, it's just like a fixed wing aircraft where my favorite's like when an F-16, you call CAS on the F-16, and you're like, drop the bomb on the vehicle. And they're like, Roger, we just bypassed. It's going to be a three-minute turnaround. And you're like, what?
Yeah, because they're going freaking Mach 1.
At like 30,000
feet. They're like, what vehicle?
Yeah.
What's the white vehicle?
I'll see you in 3 minutes.
Which vehicle?
So the orbiting surveillance is not going to happen. And the last, which I think is the most substantial, is the argument for foreign adversaries. They have to stage, meaning they have to launch from somewhere. They have to land somewhere. Yeah. And most of these videos, they have flashing lights, which is an FAA requirement.
Right.
Foreign adversaries aren't going to have FAA requirements. You're not going to have flashing beacons of light to allow somebody else not to run into them.
Right.
It's just not going to be a thing. And you're a pilot. Yeah. You know this. It's like, that's likely. But I'm not saying, and this is the question for you, I'm not saying this potentially wasn't a program. Jim, our buddy Jim, just sent me a video. I saw the video on the way in, and it talked about the potential to do radioactive detection, which not JPR8, that's Joint Personnel Recovery, what's that organization? DTRA.
Oh, yeah.
DTRA. DTRA does stuff like this, and there are drones, which I don't even know if it's classified, just makes sense to me. There are drones that can detect radioactive material, for example. And maybe they were doing a thing where they flew DOD drones to go detect it, or it was a DOD exercise.
Right.
If that's the case, all the DOD has to do is come out and go, hey, guys, we did a drill this time and place and didn't screw it up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends specifically, he lives near a nuclear facility. And he said all these drones are going toward or around the nuclear facility. So that actually makes sense if they are detection drones for, radioactive material.
Yeah.
Hey, we're flying around. Are there any leaks? Is there anything going on that we should know about? Blah, blah, blah. That makes sense.
That makes sense. I want to get to more controversial topics, but it's going to have to go
to
on
the plus.
The plus side. I appreciate you guys subscribing, and we actually gained a couple thousand subs over the week. We have very solid programs. We're going to be consistent on YouTube for the first time in a long time because we're finally monetized. Not that we didn't want to do anything, but that demonetization came with suppression of the things that we were doing. You still can't do a lot of gun content. Even using that word is going to get us slightly suppressed, but we'll save that for the plus version of it. What's your closing thoughts before we move on?
Closing thoughts.
We had a good time this weekend.
Dude, it was awesome weekend.
Yeah.
It was awesome weekend. Yeah, down
You were pooping your
Vegas.
pants.
Oh, I got a stomach bug. Woo, that was bad. It was bad. I didn't actually
You look ripped, though.
I didn't
You're
actually
extra
poop
ripped.
Yeah, I'm like super lean right now. But yeah, down with Devin from Method Endeavors, and we taught our defensive carbine class. We were Gun Fu Fighter down there, Mason.
Practice that new target, which is
the new target, which is rad. And it's so funny because I say this in my classes, and your target's the perfect example. I'll have all the students lined up, and I go, what is center mass? I said, point to me, center mass. And I point at a guy right in front of me, and he goes, points right here. I go, okay, good. I go, point to me, a guy over here, center mass. He goes, it's right here on you. I said, no, that's not your center mass, dude. Your center mass is center mass of your available target. You should be shooting me here. You should be shooting me here. They should be shooting me here. If that, whatever the angle.
Not every target's squared up perfect.
Right. But your target presents that as someone's moving, as someone's blading. You're not trying to hit them here. You're not hitting them here anymore because now maybe you're just getting a cross section of their pec muscle.
Yeah.
Right? You should be hitting them here, hitting center mass. So your target, I'm like super stoked on
a moving target that changes disposition, you're going to have to change positioning on that target. Just a no-brainer.
You have to.
Yeah, guys. So the Fieldcraft Survival App, it's linked down below. Expect Team Room every week with the Plus version being on the app. Expect Back to Basics every month. Back to Basics is a series me and Greg does on getting back to basics of everything in preparedness. Expect Reacts. We're going to bring that back. And we're doing more higher level production once a month. We'll try to step it up, ramp it up if you guys are digging it, but more higher level production. Like I want to go to Antarctica to document some stuff from the Endurance. I want to do the story that happened in South America on the Pacific side of the Gulf, of the west side of South America for the Essex, which is another ship that Mike Rowe and Joe Rogan just talked about recently. But expect to see more consistency that way from all those things. And I want to say thanks for tuning in, and we're off to the Plus side.
Yeah.